All right, guys, field trip today. So if you do events, have thought about doing events, maybe have considered in the future, you may start doing events. I'm going to go and we're going to go on a little field trip to a local event that we have here in our area, meet some of my friends that also are vendors at events. And then toward the end of the video, we're going to go over some things that I have learned in my time of doing events as well as attending events, kind of the do's and don'ts of events. So let's go out and check out the video of the event, and then we'll be back here to discuss the do's and don'ts the way I do them. And like I said, not a professional, guys, but this is from my experience. So let's go check out the event. All right, guys, field trip today. So Brandy and I decided to leave the kids at the house, and we came up to the Chilton County Strawberry Festival. Is that what it's called? Okay. So we're going to be up here walking around looking for some of our vendor friends. I'm not a vendor at this event. It's just a bunch of friends of mine. So we're going to walk around, get some video. I got the glasses, and we both got our hats on because it is sunny outside today. Hopefully we'll get you some good video, and you can kind of, see what it's all about here in Chilton County. Maybe next year you can come. We'll see. So let's get started. We got a long walk ahead of us, but we got a little brisk walk down to the park. Yeah, they do. They do have shuttles. They do have shuttles, but we chose not to. We chose not to use those. Brandy said I needed my exercise, so we're just exercising and walking. All right, guys, we've made it. Looks like we came out right here about the food truck, so we're just gonna start walking and looking, see what all they got. All right, guys, so I found one of the vendors here, and I'm getting blamed for something that I didn't do. And they've got a lot of, and if I can get this camera to cooperate, they've got some laser engraved stuff, and I happen to know the guy that did it. Matter of fact, I used to do a lot of engraving for him, and apparently I'm being blamed for this. Holy Spotted Cow, right? So they've got a little shop here, and I'm gonna try to turn the camera around so you can see it and show you some stuff. But they got some pretty cool stuff, and apparently I'm getting blamed for laser purchases and future laser purchases. Okay, so I'm gonna let talk to Anna here in just a second, but let's show you what they got here. They've got all sorts of stuff. This is general, I guess you would say, ladies stuff, but. Check it out. You got some laser engraved objects there, and if I can get Brandy out of my way, she's over here shopping. We got some Christmas ornaments and little decorative stuff that they've been doing. Oh, look at that! Look at that big thing. So there's some laser engraved stuff there as well, and then they also have some more laser stuff over here. Pretty cool products. And we're going to go over, and I'm going to let you talk to Anna now. And we'll get to the bottom of what she's trying to blame me about. All right, guys, so I'm here with Anna, and I'm going to let her have the mic and kind of tell you about their business and how it started and maybe what it is she's blaming me for here.
Hey, everyone. Me and Heather are the owner of Holy Spotted Cow here in Clanton, Alabama. And we started all this last May. I called her up from work. I said, hey, let's start a business with a boutique, and here we are today. But my husband watches this man right here on Facebook nonstop, and he's like, you know what? I can add this to the boutique. I can do this. And next thing I know, he's making all kinds of stuff. He's doing laser with our pictures. He makes the frames around our pictures and stuff. And we sell a lot of girly stuff, cowhide, purses, clothes, the normal stuff. But with his laser, he's done a lot of stuff. And every time he watches this man right here, he's like, you know what? I need that one. I could finish this a whole lot quicker if I had this machine. So it is your fault.
Yeah, well, what machine exactly is he saying that he wants now?
He's wanting one that does the laser part a lot deeper, because like sometimes it takes like a couple rounds to do it.
Yeah, so he's just wanting something a little stronger.
Yes.
Oh well, you gotta get him something stronger.
Well, then he's talking about he needs a bigger table. He needs this. He needs his own little workshop. And then he's showing us stuff. Well, hey, if I had this, I can make y'all this for the boutique. If I had this, so he's racking up.
Well,
he's wanting more.
Hey, and you got to look. That's what I tell Brandy all the time. You can't make more money without investing in better equipment.
You sound like him. See, I know where he got it from. This is what he tells us.
They've been talking to each other behind your back.
Well, now we do discuss it a lot in the lives, but the laser stuff and customized stuff is pretty. People like it. I mean. And you can come up with your imagination is the only limit. So
most definitely. Our kids play softball and baseball, and I do a lot of searching too on certain stuff to laser, and I found a really neat thing that he can laser for the coaches at the end of the season.
So he's got to have the right equipment.
Okay, that's what he's been telling me. Like we went by your house the other day, and he's like, "Look, he's got somebody over there. They're doing a live tonight. I gotta watch it."
Oh,
so
hey, that is awesome. Like I said, but yeah, Anna and them actually have property. They don't live, but they have property really close to the house. And so, you never know. A few years from now, if things get big enough, maybe we could have an event over there. And
yes,
we could have some crafters come in, and maybe people from out of state.
Yes, that'd be great.
That'd be cool.
We're actually going to build a house over there.
Oh, y'all building a house?
We are.
Oh, well.
So we'll be closer to you.
We'll be neighbors. Jordan can just come over there and check out the machine before he orders.
Exactly.
Just make sure he uses my links.
Okay. Hey, he's been sharing me your links. He said, I got this.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is what I need. Because I'll say, I found this one. He goes, no, that ain't the one I showed you. I need this one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I need those links because that helps pay the power bill.
All right. All right. Good seeing you.
Yes, ma'am. Y'all be careful and good luck. Maybe you'll sell everything and won't have to load anything up.
Hey, that's our goal.
All right.
Bye.
All right, guys. Wouldn't you know it? It wouldn't be a video without some type of equipment failure. And for some reason, my microphone was connected, but it was just making a weird clicking sound. So we're just going to walk through this, and I'm going to talk to you about my friend Caitlin here and her business, K&S Creations. All right, guys. So Caitlin and her mom started their little, it started off as a hobby, she said, and then it just got bigger and bigger. And she said this is their third year of doing events and so forth. That's a pretty cool project. Lots of painting. She said that she finds painting to be therapeutic, unlike here at the Clack Shack, where I feel like, painting's a little bit of a torturous task. So it's good for her. That's why they have lots of colorful items, and I do not. But yeah, they have some pretty cool products, and I really hate that the audio didn't work. Looking at the editing, the microphone was on, but for some reason it was not connecting properly. Not sure if somebody else out there had a mic on the same frequency or what, but it was really choppy, and you guys would have been really angry had I played that audio. But look at all those cool products. Lots of cool stuff. The one thing that I didn't see at this event, there wasn't anybody out there doing like on-demand custom stuff, which is kind of what I do when I do events. But some cool products. They got the large products as well, and a lot of smaller stuff. Smaller stuff, in my experience, is the most hot-selling items that you can have. All right, guys. So I did run across these couple of ladies here. They were doing the hat press on site, doing custom little patches and putting them on the hats and so forth. And even though it's not lasers, guys, that stuff will sell. So that's all the video that I really got to collect. There was a lot more to see, guys, but it was just a lot of walking around. You had vendors of all types. There was some woodworking stuff out there as well. I try to stick with the things that kind of relate to what I do here in the shack. And I will tell you that the ladies that were making the hats, we walked back and forth through there a few times, and they stayed busy making those custom hats like that. And that is where I think the market, like when you go to these events, I've been to several other events where there were 4 or 5 other people there selling laser created objects. But because I'm doing my stuff on site and because I'm doing custom engravings and stuff like that, I stayed busy. I had several of them come up to me at the last event saying that it wasn't fair that I was out there because me doing it on site was pulling business away from them. And of course, they were joking. But they were actually inquiring about the machines that I use and how I run them and the setup and all of that. But that is where, at every event that I go to, that's where I make the majority of the money, is doing those keychains that, kids' names these days. I mean, I can remember growing up, you could go in the gas station, there was this rack, and it had most common names, keychains on a rack. Some of these names you can't find, and those type things are getting to be less and less predominant as far as custom things. There's just not that much. So there's a market more so for, the on-demand, hey, I've got a dog named Mr. Wiggles, and I want a dog pet tag for him. That's the biggest selling thing that I have sold at any of these events. If you noticed in the video, a lot of people were out there walking their dogs, walking around with their dogs. These are outdoor events, pet safe, pet friendly events. And so there's a lot of folks out there that they will spend the money to get their dog some custom bling. And that's where I think a lot of people miss out, is because if you don't have that specific name, you're not going to make that sale. A lot of people go to PetSmart and places like that, and those things are so expensive that they just don't want to spend that much money on a dog's name tag. They can come by my booth, grab 3 of them for the price of what they would pay for them at the pet shop. So that with the keychains, and like I said, all of the medic alert stuff that I do, luggage tags, backpack tags for kids, especially when it gets close to time for school to start back. Backpack tags are a big thing because, a lot of the kids are all going to buy the same backpack because it's the most popular. It's it has that theme that everybody wants. And so a lot of parents want, something unique to hang from the zipper or from the handle of the backpack, so that when their child picks up their backpack, they can distinguish whose is what. Those are another hot selling item. And I don't see as many of those at events as what I think I should. And that's going to be something that I'm going to try to lean more into with the upcoming Peaks Jam. But doing the stuff on scene or on site has its advantages as well, because now instead of having hundreds of already made items that may or may not sell, because you got to remember, guys, you have to make these pre-made things before the event. If they don't sell, you're going to be loading them and unloading them at every event you go to from that point forward until you sell all of them, or either you're just going to take a loss and trash them. But me personally, I keep bringing those things back in hopes that maybe one day somebody will buy them. But with the made-on-demand stuff, you're only going to be having blanks, and so you're not going to be putting in that work until you actually have got the sale and got the sale lined up. So if you look at the return on investment on your purchases, if you buy 100 blanks and you engrave 50 and you only sell 10, well, you've still got 40 blanks that you can't use for anything else. And if nobody wants them with that particular design on them, you're just stuck with them. Next thing you know, you're having to discount them, mark them down, give them away at Christmas, whatever, just to get rid of those things. One other big thing that I noticed, and I noticed this with a lot of the booths out there, and I wanted to get some video of these guys to show you folks, but I didn't want to call anybody out. I walked by several booths that had some pretty interesting stuff in the booth. Like when I walked by, I was like, man, that's pretty neat right there. I look over at the booth, and the person at the booth is in a chair, leaned back, doing this. That's not how you draw people into your booth. If that person had just been, looking at me and smiled, anything to engage me, I would have probably walked over and spoke with them and looked at whatever it was that they had. But if you at your booth don't look approachable, if you don't look inviting when somebody walks by, they're not going to come in and make a purchase. And there was a bunch of people, and I know people are new at this, and I know not everybody's an extrovert. My wife points that out to me all the time, that not everybody is comfortable with engaging people as they walk by. They're like, oh, I don't mess with them, leave them alone, don't want to irritate people. But guys, let's face it, when you're trying to sell things, you got to draw them in. You got to get them into your booth. Once you get them into your booth, if they like you, they're probably going to buy something. I bought several items today that I really didn't need, But because when I walked by, they were like, "Hey, how are y'all today?" And just being friendly. And so I walked in, and then I look down, I see something I like, and I'm like, "Okay, you know what? This person's nice. They're out here in the hot sun trying to sell this stuff. I'm going to buy this, if nothing else, just to contribute my $5 to $10 to the cause." So just remember, people will buy things they don't really need if they like you. If they don't like you, they'll walk away and not buy things that they probably do need. Just be approachable. And I know you guys, probably everybody that's watching this video has went to a fast food restaurant to where you walk up to place your order and the person behind the counter acts as though they would rather go in the back and drink the hot grease than take your order. That's not the experience you want people to have at your booth. You want to go, if you want an example of how you need to be to make sales, go to Chick-fil-A or go to Starbucks when you walk in and how they're chipper and they're all like, "Hey, how are you?" That unfortunately is what sells. And that's why Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, places like that, they know these things, and their managers take notice and train their employees to where if someone walks in that door, you need to engage them. You need to be friendly. You need to look friendly. Don't look like you're having a bad day. Don't just give them the stank eye when they come in. You need to engage those folks. And that's the people, if you watch when you go to events, those are the people that are going to have a line. They're going to have a lot of people in there because they're being invited. Now, there are times, and I get hit with this a lot. There's times where I've got 5 people standing there that I'm trying to bounce from one to the other, and I let one slide by. I see a person look over, and I try to engage them, but at the same time, I've got 4 or 5 people here. So if you get to where you're doing high volume like that, and that's what I'm trying to do now, is get you some help. Get somebody else out there. If that other person is not necessarily the one to pull them into the booth, then you pull them into the booth and hand them off to that person. And then when the next one walks by and looks your way, engage them. Hey, what do hey, how's it going? What can I help you with? See anything you like? Whatever. Just engage that person. Another little tidbit of psychology is when you start talking to people, it's human nature that you kind of want to, you don't want to be rude. You want to kind of talk back to them. And so once you start a conversation with that person, the majority of the population is going to at least acknowledge your existence. Some of them are going to keep walking. Some of them are going to act like they never heard you. But a vast majority of them are going to at least give your stuff a second look, if not come over and talk to you. Part of the salesmanship of working at events is you. I mean, the booth needs to look put together. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It needs to have that theme of whatever it is that you do. If it's laser engraved stuff, then of course, it can be a little rustic, decorative. If it's seasonal, you're going to want to have all your Christmassy stuff up front to kind of bait them in with the Christmas stuff, and then maybe sell them some Christmas stuff and some other things to go along with it. But the biggest thing that I saw today out of the hundreds of vendors that were out there, the ones that were doing really good were engaging with the customers as they walked by. Their booth looked put together. It wasn't, it had enough intrigue out close to where everybody's walking. That's where the really cool stuff was. And then when you came into the booth, there were some other things scattered along the backside. And you got to remember, when you're setting these booths up, that's kind of like your window. If you're setting up a window for a storefront and you're on the sidewalk, every store in the old days, we've kind of gotten away from the window shopping, so to speak, these days. But you always wanted to have something in that window to where when somebody walks by, it catches their attention. It either gets their curiosity going or makes them want to make a purchase. That way they come into the store. So think of these booths as the stuff that's close to the lanes of travel. That's your window. That's your storefront window. And have some things out there to catch their attention. I have found that my little Chihuahua cutout that I made that has his little bone engraved hanging around his neck, that thing is priceless, because people, I could hang those little bones out there, and from across the way, people would have no idea what those things are. But when I got my little plywood cutout dog sitting there with it around his neck, the dog catches the dog people's eyes immediately, because they're like, dog, they gravitate to it. And then they see he's got this little laser engraved name tag that says dog. And so they come over and go, hey, do you make those here? Can I get my dog's name on one of those? And of course, my answer is absolutely. So you gotta work this as if, even though it's not a store, even though it's not a shop, a lot of the same things apply. You got to get them in the door. You got to get them to stop when they're walking by. If you don't engage, if you don't have something to catch their eye, to slow them down a little bit, to get that look that you're waiting to get that glance. And when you get that glance, you smile and say, hey, what can I do for you? Or, hey, come check it out. Look what I got. So those are the two biggest things that I saw today. People were kind of lacking on. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to call anybody out. It was all kinds of different vendors of different sorts. And I know a lot of times maybe the person that was sitting at the table is not the owner of the company or is not the main person in charge. But it really hurts when the person's just sitting at the table like they don't want to be disturbed. Like they're too busy with whatever they're doing on their phone. They don't want you to disturb them. They don't want you to bother them. And you're not going to get sales that way, guys. So by all means, when you go to events, even if you're an introvert and you don't like talking to people, find a friend that does and take them with you. I promise you, if you're one of those people that has a hard time approaching folks and asking folks to step over to your booth, if you'll find one of your friends that loves to reach out and talk to people and is always bubbly, take them with you, buy their lunch, pay them, make something for them, whatever you got to do, and get them to help you, and you will see that your profits will increase because you're going to be pulling more people into your booth. The more people come to your booth, the better your chances of making a sale. And when you do make that sale, another thing that you've got going for you is if that's at a local event, now they know who you are and what you can do, and you will actually get jobs after the fact. That's another part of this. Is make sure you have your business cards available, a QR code, something so that these folks can take a picture of it, save it, keep it, and later on when they decide they need something, you'll be the one they come to because not only were you nice and presentable at the event, but you gave them your information. There were several booths out there. I was looking for the name of the business. I looked all over the place, couldn't figure it out. Nobody had, they didn't have signs, they didn't have anything. And if those folks had a Facebook page, I may have came back home tomorrow and said, you know what, I saw this at that business the other day. I really need to get one of those. But without a way of following up and reaching out to them and going, hey, I saw this rocking chair that you were trying to sell the other day. Do you still have it? Without having that after the event follow-up, I don't know where to find these folks. I don't even know the name of the business. I know it was, this color tint, and there was two people sitting there. So those are some things that you need to make sure you do. Draw people into your tent. Make sure if they look your way, try your best to talk them into coming over, having a conversation, making a sale. If they do come over, make sure that you have some way of them identifying your store so that in the future they can reach out to you on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, cell phone, business phone, mailing address, whatever you got. You want that out there. And then, like I said, be presentable with what you have and make sure you put some of your most popular items in view of where the main thoroughfare is, where everybody's walking. If your booth's pointed in a weird direction, because sometimes you get those booths that are on the corner that's like, it doesn't make sense why your booth's there. Shift your stuff to the left or the right. It doesn't matter. But make sure that wherever the most traffic is, your hot selling items can be seen from there. That way it draws them over. But those are just some of the things that I've noticed over the past few years doing events. And when I go to events and I look at it as from the customer's perspective, I see another part of it as well. So, but yeah, just some tips for you guys. And there you have it. Events in Chilton County. No, I did not participate in this one. I got stuff here that's got to be done, and it's going to be a long week. But I hope this helps if you're trying to get into doing events, and maybe some of this information, maybe you kind of reflect on what you do when you go to events and go, you know what, that may be part of my problem. And if it is, don't worry, guys. Learn, progress, do better. My first couple of events were nightmares. I was looking back at my stuff, looking back at the way I did it. It was terrible. It takes time to get used to it, and I'm still learning every single day. All right, guys, so that's it for today. In the meantime, feel free to hit the like, follow, subscribe button, all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Central. Steve and I do our Sunday night live show, and it's always full of tips. We answer questions, try to help you fix your machines, and sometimes we just talk about stuff. So come hang out with us Sunday nights, 7 p.m. Central. And until next time, be safe and have a good day.